as I said before, do not send any hate to this creator. We're just going to watch, we're going to react. If you want to say something negative about it, you can put it in my comments. That's completely okay to share your own opinions. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Be aware that this video contains very heavy spoilers for Genshin Impact up to version 6.4, also known as Luna 5, the current game version as of recording. So if you clicked on this video and haven't played up through these quests yet, and you are still interested in doing so, please watch this at your own risk. Also, I would like to say that while I play Genshin frequently, I'm certainly not a lore expert. It's also worth pointing out that Genshin lore only gets more confusing and convoluted as time goes on, so
I don't think it's that convoluted if you have done like the quests in order and all that, but yeah, I do see where she's coming from that perspective at least.
that might factor in as well. I might get stuff wrong. You can feel free to correct me about anything in the comments, but I will do my best.
Yeah, she does seem
Let me
very
just
open
start
to
by saying
feedback.
that Genshin Impact is one of my favorite games. I know that there's a lot to be said about Genshin and that Genshin fans are kind of a meme. There's a lot of valid critiques to be thrown Genshin's way. For example, like many gacha games, they use a very predatory business model, and Hoyoverse makes millions of dollars off of FOMO and by fostering people's gambling addiction.
Yeah, this is just average gacha game. So yeah, I haven't seen anything to really mildly disagree with here.
And I would argue Genshin is actually worse than a lot of other Hoyo games too, because it's not as generous. From my understanding,
I don't think it's worse. Now, this actually might be a hot take. Yes, Honkai Star Rail does give you a lot more stuff for free, but this is because they don't have the exploration Genshin has. I think it's about the same. Because in the Honkai Star Rail, they just have to spoon feed you everything because they don't have as much exploration. This may be the same for ZZZ2. I have not played that since 1.0, but like, I do think that it's about the same. It's just done in different ways. Like in Genshin, you actually have to go and explore everything through that. And it might actually work better for these games that just spoon feed you because you feel like you're getting more when you're probably just getting the same amount. That's just my POV. Some people will disagree with that.
other games from this company have made up for a lot of Genshin's greed by giving away more free characters and by making it easier to obtain materials to level them up. Meanwhile,
Yeah, yeah, we still are locked with the, oh no, you only can do this domain on a certain number of days, which, yeah, that's fair. That's fair
Genshin
criticism.
refuses to adapt even after over 5 years of updates. The resin cap is still only at 200 with no resin overflow system, and the weapon and talent ascension materials are still only available for a few days each week, which is an
Yeah, this is valid criticism, honestly. This is, like, a lot of people do think this.
outdated system that serves absolutely no purpose. But, despite all of those flaws, Genshin kind of stole my heart in the beginning. You could pretty much build any character you wanted if you liked them, but there was this
And that's because I didn't have to sell the new characters yet. Power creep is inevitable on most gacha games. You can see that in Honkai Star Rail. In Honkai Star Rail it's like the worst of the worst down there for power creep. But yes, there is power creep in Genshin, although I don't think it's as bad as what like Honkai Star Rail's doing, but it's still like it's really annoying for free to play what free to play players, and like if you want to build your favorite characters, like they might not be as viable anymore without like maybe the best in-game supports there is. So yes, that does exist, but I only think that's a problem for like the end game, but only like the Siege and Onslaught, I think that's what it's called, and the Spiral Abyss is like the only places you would really need that, and you can actually beat like other levels of the station anyway. And like, if you don't want to go through the hell of floor 12 in the Spiral Abyss, you can just not do it. That's the thing, you can choose to do it. You can also choose not to do it. So if you're like, I don't feel comfortable or whatever, then that's completely fair. You can just not do it. But I've also seen free to play players beat floor 12. And sometimes they don't even have like the best supports. They've just like really min-maxed few characters and they make it work. But yeah, if that's not your cup of tea, you don't have to do that. I'm just saying it's not, at least the power creep isn't as bad as other games, but there is power creep.
But even if the story occasionally got dull, and I know a lot of people struggled with Inazuma, believe me, I have problems with it too, I know I could always count on seeing a character I liked. When Inazuma was boring me to death in the middle, or when it was busy underdeveloping Raiden A, I could at least maybe see Kazuha sometimes, who is still one of my favorite characters in the game to this day. A gacha game relies on its characters like almost no other type of game does. If you want people to pull for them, they have to appeal. And
Yeah, that is number one gacha game thing. If you want people to like them, you have to make them like them, otherwise they won't spend their money. So, with that, I was waiting for her to finish, because yes, I do agree that some stories, most of it, get really bad in the middle, and sometimes doesn't have full character development. Though, though, Inazuma was actually a good story if you like, I did play it, like, but you have to play the other story quests. Yes, it's a good story in hindsight. I did like the part where they were, like, fighting. I forgot what it is, like, the war part. I did actually really like that. There was actually a lot of cool cutscenes out of that, and, like, it built up the characters, and then you Tepe. Well, yeah, you can see Tepe. Anyway, yeah, I do understand where she said Inazuma did get boring, but I'm pretty sure a lot of other people, me included, actually think it's a decent story. It's actually not as boring as Leeway. Leeway is my least favorite one by far, because I remember I was playing through it at first, and then you have to do the fetch quests and everything. It just really like pulled me out of the story. I just couldn't enjoy it after I was Zhongli's little, I don't know, servant at that point. But yeah, I do get where she's coming from.
most of them did. They had beautiful designs and interesting personalities that sealed the deal. So yes, Genshin is one of my favorite games. But I'm also its biggest hater. And I know what you're gonna say. You're just nostalgic. That's the only reason you think it was better back then. But I have proof. I mean, why else would I make a whole video essay on an unestablished YouTube channel if I didn't have proof? So, was
We are here
Genshin
for the
always
proof,
this
girl.
weird and bad?
We're here for the
No.
proof.
It wasn't. And let me tell you why.
Where it all went wrong.
When we talk about bad Genshin, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, Natlan. In case you're unfamiliar, Genshin bases its nations on real-world cultures, in terms of visual inspiration, the names of the characters, and the nation's customs. Mondstadt is based largely on Germany, Liyue on China, Inazuma on Japan, and so on. Natlan, similarly to Sumeru, is based on multiple real-world cultures, including Mesoamerican societies, Polynesian cultures, and the cultures of African peoples. It's hard to pin down what they were thinking when they picked out all of these places, each so different to represent just one nation in the game. I'm certainly not the person to listen to on if this is bad representation, but I will say I do find it odd that the regions based on parts of the world where historically many black and brown people have lived are a mishmash of many different cultures.
Okay, so Natlan. Natlan, well, yes, it has all of its critiques, especially when it was just coming out and the characters were being released. So, Natlan, to me, I don't actually think it's the worst region because I actually like all the regions. Um, but yes, I do understand the critique of, hey, you based these characters, you've based this world off of certain cultures, and you're not fully encompassing that culture. There's not like as much variety in race and stuff. That's completely fine to criticize about. I'm not gonna defend Hoyoverse here. It is a Chinese game, so they could be more hesitant to do something like that, which is, it sucks for the global, but guess what? The biggest supporters of Genshin, China and Japan don't really care. They're gonna sell the characters anyway. It doesn't matter if they put representation or not. This is the same for like almost every gacha game. They don't listen to the global. They don't listen to global. They don't listen to the America. People that actually play the game. They listen to their main demographic, which is China and Japan, and usually just China. So yes, I do see where you're coming from. More representation would be nice. Honestly, it would be really nice because then you get more varieties of characters. I can't wait for like a beautiful character that just has like African descent. But unfortunately, that's not always going to happen in especially gacha games because it's China based.
And that the characters are whitewashed versions of these people, it just gives me pause, to say the least. For many other reasons, too, Natlan was understandably poorly received by fans, at least in the United States. I'm not really sure how other parts of the world reacted to it. It's easy to see why, though, because it's the same reasons that I didn't like Natlan. The landscapes are fine, but aesthetically, a lot of Natlan doesn't mesh well with existing aesthetics of the game. And one of the major problems people
That was the reason they made Netland. Now, you probably, like, people who play Genshin, you're probably gonna actually pitchfork me for this. I actually really liked Natlan. I liked the story. I liked everything about it. I do like most of the character designs. You can sue me for this. Anyways, I don't think it mismatches that badly. If you look at other newer regions that have come out now, especially, I think it was them experimenting with well different things, different characters, because they want to sell more characters, they have to experiment. That's just the nature of the game. When it gets older, it's been out for like 4-ish years by Natlan, 4-ish, 5-ish years by Natlan, and well, they need some variety somehow. They're going to make it look completely different to the other ones because you're probably, well, sick of seeing the other ones at this very moment because the game's this old now. And yeah, like, honestly, for me, Fontaine was actually the most different one when it came out. It's just the thing that happens. Like, they're gonna think, oh yeah, I'm gonna put more detail into this. I'm gonna do this and this and this. They just want to improve each place, make sure like each region is vastly different. So then you can like have the different places you can go so you don't get bored of one aesthetic. That's what I think they were going for. Yes, it does seem kind of mismatched. Like, you can make that argument. I'm not going to attack you for that argument. I'm just saying that, like, there was criticism that the game didn't have much variety before Fountain. And then Fountain came out, and that was very different. And everyone really liked Fountain. Or Fontaine. I don't know how to say it. I say Fountain. Anyway, they really liked it. So they thought, hey, what about if we go crazy with the different design and push it all, like, make it all different? Yeah, that's valid criticism, but that's what I think they were going for because I actually think that Nod Cry is now the most different place, and that's mismatched to everything now. But every region is going to be mismatched because they want it to be different. I think they did it purposefully, but yeah.
people had was the characters' access to modern technology and concepts like motorcycles, flying guns, rollerblades, and DJ sets.
Okay, the characters props. This is another thing that I probably should have put in the other my other rant. Well, anyway, it's fantasy. Yes, some things are allowed to be more modern. You can add modern in fantasy. It doesn't have to be modern fantasy for you to add modern things. Because why isn't anyone talking about the camera? The camera is a modern thing. Like, the camera's quite modern, and no one's talking about that. What about, like, movie sets, all that? That's quite modern. What about the boats with hyper realistic technology? That's quite modern. They haven't talked about this until the characters came out in Natlan when they already had some sort of hate against Natlan. I think the props are fine. It just makes the character a bit different. That's what they were going for. They just wanted them to have maybe a special item to make them look a bit different. But yes, I do see how people do think that, hey, this is too much different, but honestly, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as you think. With how different things are, it's not as bad as you'd think.
I'm not even necessarily mad at the idea of having more modern tech in Natlan, but the problems lie more in the execution. First, Natlan made a point to set up an aesthetic style for Natlanese technology, like that within the ancient Sacred Mountain area, but then they only used it in that area. If Mawika's motorcycle or Shilonen's DJ set looked anything like this, and not like sleek, modern variations of those objects, maybe they wouldn't have felt so out of place.
Okay. If Morvrika's motorbike used that technology, it wouldn't match the character. I'm sorry. It would not match the character. I made it like that to match the character specifically. It would not match the character if it was made out of that technology, but yes, I do see what you're coming from. Either the machines should look like that, like the modernized props, or the props should look like the modernized machines to bring it into the world. Yes, I do get that. But from a character design standpoint, it'd make the motorbike look hella ugly. I'm sorry, but I think it would make it look really ugly. That's just my personal opinion though.
The tech is that no one else in Natlan, other than the playable characters, use it at all. You don't see any other Natlanese people rollerblading or driving vehicles. They probably wouldn't feel so out of place if other people in the 6 tribes had access to this stuff.
And that's
There
fine.
is perhaps no location in Natlan that is so out of place as the Easy Breeze Holiday Resort. I did love the lore that this location provided for Bennett, but everything else about it is so ass, dude.
This is the most valid thing I've heard so far. This place should have just been an event. This place should not have stayed. I still, like, one day I was playing and I was like, what the hell, this place is still here? Yeah, I hate this place, so yeah, it does feel very out of place because it's for an event. It should have gone, or maybe the Barbara place should have stayed, like the beach one with Barbara and all that, or the one with Mona and Fischl, that island should have stayed. If they were going to keep event islands, they should have stayed, or they should have all gone. And I think this one should have gone. Like, I would have I would have rathered any of the other ones, honestly.
A different game to walk around this resort. There's a huge slide in the shape of a Caholosaurus, a dark ride a la Disneyland, a field that looks like a fucking Wii Sports golf course, and like a music festival area with a dance-off stage.
There's the similarity that you wanted. I'm joking. But yeah, that looks like the modern technology in Jalonen's DJ table.
How immersion breaking it is to explore this area. Have there been silly summer themed areas in the past? Yes, but none of them have ever had an aesthetic on par with this one. I mean, the Golden Apple Archipelago just looks like it was taken straight out of Mondstadt or Liyue in terms of design, while still looking
Yes, I
very
do like the
fantastical,
archipelago much more.
with possible landscapes that could only be created by a mage of incredible power like Alice. Unfortunately, the visual aspects aren't Natlan's only faults. I and many others also found the lore and quest of this region to be pretty lacking too.
I liked
We'll start
it.
with the basics.
It's actually quite good if you actually read it. It's quite good lore. It is better than your Inazuma one that you're complaining about. It's better than Mondstadt, it's better than Liyue.
Eternity, wisdom, justice, and war. Most of these, at least to me, represent a good idea of what a divine ideal should be. Something that a god is supposed to uphold in their nation. Sometimes upholding the ideal leads to conflict in the region. For example, in her upholding of eternity, Raiden Shogun sealed her borders and stole the ability to use elemental magic from her people, all for the sake of keeping Inazuma the same for all time. At the same time, Raiden herself represents the concept of eternity. She locks herself away to practice hundreds of years of meditation and uses
I thought you said you
undying
hated
puppets of
Inazuma
herself to
lore.
exact her
Here you
will
are
on the
explaining
people
it.
of her nation. It's honestly very upsetting the way that they rushed through her arc so much, because I think she would have made for such a compelling character otherwise. Now think about
That's why the
Maruka
story
in the same
quest I
way,
think
with
exists,
regards to
because
her
they
divine
knew they
ideal,
were a
which
bit
is
rushed.
war. How does she represent war? Well, she's fighting a war against the Abyss, like everybody else in Teyvat. Yeah, maybe they have it worse than other nations, but still, what happens when the war ends, which it does at the end of the Archon quest. It's not like Mawika is some battle-crazed maniac. At most, she's just kind of thoughtless and reckless in her actions. Do you see how war doesn't really work as a divine ideal, and least of all with Mawika as its representative? Also, it's a nation
I can
of
see
war made
that,
up
but
of
then
60
again,
different factions, and yet there's
the
absolutely
story
no
was actually pretty
conflict
good. You
between
can't
them.
really
It really
blame the
just doesn't
story
make
for
any
that.
sense. This
I
is
think
why
they
I
retconned
personally
it
always
halfway
thought it would be
through. There's a
cool
lot
if
of
the
people
Pyro
saying they
Archon was a
retconned it.
villain to her people. Maybe she makes them fight each other gladiator style for her own entertainment. And then maybe we would have a better rebellion storyline than Inazuma with an Archon that's completely irredeemable. Because we certainly know that the Cryo Archon is gonna get redeemed in some way if she's ever going to become playable. We will also touch on that in a later section in more detail. Instead, in Mawika, we have an Archon who is a Mary Sue. Ironic when she's the only Archon who is actually a human and would likely have the most flaws out of any of them. The thing is, Mawika is very flawed. She is extremely irresponsible and brash even when it will put the lives of her entire nation at stake. Her nation is at war with the Abyss and she's like, well, best thing I can do for you guys now is go to sleep for 500 years and hope and pray that the heroes I need will appear to me when I need them. What?
Okay, so Morvrika as a Mary Sue. This is a bit weird to talk about, but I do think Morvrika and all the Archons, full stop, are Mary Sues. Fight me. Raiden's a Mary Sue. And you, like, say no to that? Like, you're attacking one Archon. Like, I don't... No attack... No shade to you, please. I'm not trying to attack you or anything, but all the Archons are Mary Sues. That's just how they're gonna sell. They need to seem more powerful than a regular, person. Yes, Morvrika does have her flaws, as you did point out. She's a human. She had to sleep for a few years because she drained her power. It's fair. Like, if you're going through the route of, hey, the human body can't actually, well, have this much power in it at once and oh, I forgot the word, but like, use all of it at once, that's completely fine. You can go that route. Because it just makes her seem a bit more weaker than the rest because she isn't a full Archon. Because you can say Venti is a Mary Sue. He was at the pub drinking with your how you've been saying it. You're like, oh well, she didn't do anything. She waited around for the heroes to come. Venti did the same. I love Venti. He's one of my favorite characters, yes. But he was at the pub drinking. And also trying to do everything by himself, yada yada. And then everyone came to help him, and he was like, oh, now he can actually do it. You waited for the main character. It's just how the game's gonna play. Throughout all of them, every single Archon, the player had to come help them. That's just what's gonna happen. This time, Morvrika needed help to defeat the Abyss. It's fair. They need to sell the story somehow. Like, if Morvrika didn't go to sleep and wait for the hero, what do you think would have happened? Bro wouldn't have a war anymore because the main character, they've just solved it without the main character. You can do that. That's the thing. They have to put some stop to it. They have to put some major flaw into it for the character. And the next thing that you're probably going to say, I'll probably be wrong, I have not watched this. The next thing is, oh, Morvrika was actually stronger than we thought. Well, yeah, after she used all of the flames power, it completely decimated it. Yeah, but then that had major repercussions for herself. Like, I think she's not a Mary Sue. I don't think any of the Archons are Mary Sues, but with your logic, call every single Archon a Mary Sue. Well, the main character Mary Sue. That's the most Mary Sue character there is. Aether, Lumine, those are both Mary Sue characters. Because what do you mean everything's being done with a dull blade? And the MCs, yeah. The MCs are the true Mary Sues of the entire Genshin story. Sue me, that's That's just how it is that they are.
That is crazy of you! And yet the game tries to make me feel bad for her for doing this. The game, instead of pointing out how terrible and risky this plan is, just focuses on the fact that Mawika had to say goodbye to her family in order to put this plan into action. Dog.
Well, yes, they wanted to make the character seem more human so then people would actually relate to her in some way. Yes, it's a marketing technique. Might not be good for story standards, it's a marketing technique. And yes, she did know how risky it was, but I don't think, like, she would have told that to the family. She was probably like, oh no, this plan will be okay, don't worry. I'll say goodbye to everyone. I don't think she would have told them anything because she was the character that kept everything inside. She's sort of like me, like, you don't tell everyone what you're thinking at the same time. You can say that you've got a plan that you think will fix it. She's not going to tell you the repercussions of that plan. She's not going to tell you how risky it is. She'll just say, oh no, it will work. That's just the type of character she is. You can critique her, you can critique Hoyoverse for writing this story. That's completely fine. I'm just saying that's probably what it is, in my personal preference. Don't take me as defending Hoyoverse. I do not want to defend a company. I'm just saying how they probably think it is and how I probably think it is. It's all up to speculation. I'm completely up to speculation.
I do not care. The writing doesn't focus at all on what's important here. It just makes her out to be the perfect Archon who's good at everything and refuses to fail. There were no...
Because she has determination. That's the thing. She has determination. She wants everyone to be happy. So she puts it all on her shoulders, which negatively affects her. This was in the story. And then since everything is negatively affecting her, she doesn't know how to ask for help. That's in the story. That's her problem. Her problem is that she can't ask for help because she wants to put everything on her shoulders because she's the Archon. She feels like she has to be the perfect Archon to, well, juggle everything to try and keep her people happy. When you said like there was war, that she can't really describe war, she had a war as in the conflict with herself. She wanted to reach out to people, she wanted to help them as well, but she couldn't do one. She had to do only the other, which was help everyone and put everything on her shoulders in order to try and make sure everyone's okay. Which then like led to its own problems, and then she finally was able to ask for help. But yes, she didn't know how to ask for help, which caused a conflict in her mind that, oh no, I have to do it all by myself. I am the Archon. She was having the war with herself. Atlan's story is actually pretty good. If you read into like the characters, they're actually well written. Much well written than Inazuma that you critiqued. Much well written than Liyue that I've critiqued.
No memorable parts of that quest for me, except for maybe the final battle. And it's not even like the characters here can make up for this nation's incredibly boring and stupid story. For me, all of them were so nothing. It boggles my mind that so many of y'all are shipping these MFs together when they barely have interesting relationships with each other at all. I feel like all of their
I do think that the characters are actually neglected because the most we'd see was from Kachina. I actually love Kachina, but like the most character development was actually Vookiii herself, which you criticized. You said she didn't have character development. She's the only character that had big character development, her and Kachina. All the other characters, you can say they're a nothing burger, but I also really like Citlali and how they portrayed Citlali because she also had her own conflicts and everything. So out of the three that I think they didn't actually, well, disregard was Citlali, Vookiii, Kachina. You can make the point for everyone else though. Everyone else you can say, oh well, they were all thrown to the side, discarded. Yes, I do agree with that.
Personalities could be explained in one word. Mulaney is bubbly. Kinich is standoffish. Kachina is insecure. Verisa, she eats a lot. Oh, and Mawika. What can be said that I haven't already touched on? She's good at everything. She's the perfect Archon, and even her reckless plan for saving her
nation. She tries to be best and everything because she doesn't know how to ask for help, but yeah.
By the game as risky at all, even though it is. And in the end, she just defeats the Abyss with the power of friendship. It reminds me of that TikTok.
Because she didn't know. Like, yeah, this is all runs back to her not knowing how to ask help, and when she finally did, everything worked. That's what it is. She finally learned how to trust other people with her problems.
Where they had the cutscene with all the heroes side by side with the clip from My Little Pony Equestria Girls. The writers go out of their way to make Mawika seem like the coolest person ever, when in reality she has like no personality. On the topic of Natlan characters being in the meta, Natlan is also when the shill started getting really bad. Soon enough, the Abyss and other endgame modes were
I agree with
for
this.
nightfall mechanics, with some
But they
bosses
wanted to
that are
sell
nearly
Natlan.
impossible to beat without Natlan characters in the team. It just started a trend that only gets worse with time.
Yeah, we had to skip non-cry because I don't know the story, so I can't
It's
really
an
give
anime
good
gacha
commentary
game. You
on
have
it,
to
sorry.
expect fan service. Okay, I know that. But Genshin used to be different from other games in its genre, and I mean that genuinely. There used to be a much better ratio of female to male 5-star characters than many.
Okay. You used to guess what character sells. Guess who mostly plays Genshin. The characters that sell are the women, obviously. Most of the players are men, like myself. So yes, the men actually, like a lot of men I've seen also appreciate like the male characters, but but you have to hold on to this. They are global. Hoyoverse isn't going to listen to the global people. We've already tried making them listen, and they usually don't listen unless you go through extreme measures, and you have to be backed up with the Chinese community. If you're not backed up with the Chinese community, game over. Game over. So, in China, there's a lot of other Chinese gacha games that are much, much more, well, risque. And, I think, well, it's because of that reason that, well, people just like women better. Well, in games and stuff, like, either you got, like, a dude who's attracted to them, or you've got, like, even women who think, "Oh my god, she's really pretty." And you don't see the same love for men outside of the global sphere. Well, like, you do, like, some, but not as much as the women characters, which is probably why they're catering to more of a women audience. I think they just had it equal to see how people reacted to the characters at first. And honestly, I am one of these people. I believe that the women characters are much more thought out. Their designs are much more memorable than most of the male characters. That just might be a me thing. That might just be a couple of others thing, but there will be a reason why they're just only selling female characters and why they're only making them.
Many other gacha games, because so many gacha games are targeted at male audiences who aren't perceived as being interested in the male characters. And there were sexy character outfits, especially on the women, lots of detached sleeves, short skirts, also known as the coochie flap, thigh-high socks, or boots. But they were nowhere near as bad as they are now. These women are nearly naked now. And
I'm sorry to bring this up, but one, they're still clothed. Two, not much people look at the characters from the side. You showed the side piece. I don't think, still, compared to other gacha games, Genshin is not one that is as bad as the rest of them. I'm saying this. I'm gonna stand by this fact. Genshin is nothing compared to actual gacha games. Bro.
And not only does that make me mad and uncomfortable from a standpoint of being a woman who feels objectified just by looking at these designs, but also
I'm not gonna say anything about your experience for being a woman. That is completely valid, and I don't know because I am a dude. I have been sexualized before though, plenty of times because I am a femboy. Um, yes, that is a valid thing to say that you do feel uncomfortable with some character designs. That is valid. But the majority don't feel uncomfortable. The majority, even women, some of them don't feel uncomfortable. There's not enough outrage to say, hey, we really feel uncomfortable with these designs in the Chinese community. I haven't even seen much in the global community, but that might be because I distance myself to the Genshin community. But it is valid if you feel uncomfortable, but I just don't think it's that bad, personally. Because otherwise my design of my character, my VTuber design, is quite sexualized with what you're saying. But yes, I can see your point. I'm not going to disregard anything because that is valid. You're allowed to feel like that. And I can't speak for you. I can't speak for women, but I haven't seen anything saying, "Hey, these designs make me really uncomfortable," before you bring it up right now. And yes, if you feel uncomfortable by them, you can not like the character. That's completely fine. You don't have to pull for them. You don't have to like them or anything. That's completely your choice.
From a character design standpoint, I have quite a bit to say about the sharp drop off in not only the quality of the Genshin character designs, but also in the tastefulness of them. To show you what I mean, we can talk about some early Genshin designs to compare them to more recent ones. I think it's important to discuss the physical elements of these characters first before we discuss the fan service elements of their presentation, writing, and personalities, because the physical appearance is the most obvious element, but I promise we will get to the other stuff in due time. Also keep in mind that I'm only going to be talking about female characters because most of the time, the male characters are almost always covered from chin to toe now, aka
That is interesting to say that you're not going to say anything about them. Yes, female characters are more criticized, but then, like, I could bring up Goro. I could say bro's basically naked. But I could say that, but yes, men characters in a lot of gachas aren't as sexualized because they don't cater to a female audience. They cater to a male audience. A straight male audience, to be exact. Because, well, LGBTQ stuff isn't as, well, known about / accepted in China, and, well, they don't care, but, like, if you're a Chinese person and you might really get discriminated against in that country, but yes, but it's always going to be a problem. But tangent aside, I don't think you're going to pull up like some of the most sexualized Genshin designs compared to like some other ones. Yai Miko. Are you going to use Yai Miko? I can make the point that Yai Miko is sexualized. Or I can make the point that Beidou is sexualized. If you try hard enough, you can. I actually don't think they are. I don't even think they're trying to do that. I think they're just trying to do different fashion. And, well, fashion can fall apart. Oh no, what am I saying? Fashion can come under, well, showing off more or less skin. And like, with the designs they already have, I think they're running out of ideas. Yes, they could have like Lolita characters, but then that's really hard for 3D modeling. You've got to think about that. Hard for 3D modeling. It's easier to put them in a swimsuit, which might hurt to say, but it is. It is easier. But, well, anyway, we'll hear you out.
the fan service is not equal opportunity. One of the first characters I'll mention is Lisa, one of the very first anime fan servicey characters that we're introduced to in the game. She teases the traveler, she calls them cutie, and she's averse to doing any sort of work. Her character design communicates so much about her though, nonetheless. Her hairstyle, which is very loose and almost looks like it's falling out on one side, shows us that lazy element of her personality. Her purple, black, and gold color palette obviously communicates her element of electro, but also a sense of importance, luxuriousness, and magic. Her classically styled witch hat also conveys the latter, of course. Yai Miko is similar to Lisa in terms of teasing personality, although Miko can get a bit more cruel and self-indulgent with it. She has a sharper eye shape than Lisa's gentle round eyes to indicate this part of her personality. Her outfit is also a stylized version of a traditional Japanese shrine maiden outfit, giving her the required amount of gacha game sexiness while also showing her spiritual importance in Inazuma. Her design being more complicated than the other shrine maidens also signifies that her role is the most important of all of them. Her hair is the color of a sakura blossom, and she has cherry blossom motifs in her clothing, again emphasizing her Japanese inspiration, but also her connection to the sacred sakura of Inazuma, which is deeply connected with her element of electro. This ought to be fun. One of my least favorite recent characters is Seat Lolly. Again, I
Oh
know a
no.
fan favorite, but I'm sorry, I do not like her. Her design certainly isn't the most offensive of the Natlan ones, I just find her annoying. I do think her English VA is very good at their job and that they do a great job with Seat Lolly's voice, but I really just don't like the character's writing. We will talk about that in a bit. One of the things I dislike about her design, though, is this goddamn leotard that she's wearing. This girl is literally wearing a thong. The sweater thing would go right up her butt crack. I cannot stand stuff like this. Also, side note real quick.
That is your personal opinion. I actually think that it is actually a pretty good design. Zitlali is one of my favorite designs in Genshin. Now, you're probably like, oh, well, it's revealing, and I don't think it's revealing enough. You see a lot of people, like, just out and about wear this kind of thing. I actually think the color palette you said that was really important. The color palette really reminds me of, well, one, the Natlan aesthetic, two, where she came from, like her tribe and everything. It is the colors of the Nightwind. Purples, the blues, the deepness of it. It does matter. And you also said, well, I've got a figure of Zitlali right here so I can, like, look at it. Hold on. And you also said that it's okay to have some, well, sexier outfits, in your opinion, as long as it meets the requirement of the character design. I actually think Sitlali is one of the worst characters you could have put for this, because I think Sitlali has a lot in going in her character design. The pinkish, bluish hair, I actually think that it's part of her being tsundere. Like, for some reason, when I think of pink, I actually think of tsundere. It is probably because of the blush they have while being angry. And she is. She is a big tsundere. She will not admit it because she is. And then also, well, her clothing shows her where she's from. The more, like, Natlan clothing, it's because she's from Natlan, guys. It's because she's from Natlan. You're allowed. And, like, what happens if it was covered up? There'll be nothing of her that is sexualized. She, like, if her back was a full piece, nothing of it would be sexualized. You've got to think about that. I think Sitlali is one of the worst people you could have used. You could have used, like, a, Cry character. We'll see who you use next, though.
Quick, I have to pause to talk about the state of Genshin character trailers. Can we talk about how these videos used to be actual showcases of the character's combat abilities with like little elements of story sprinkled in? And also, what exactly does this design communicate about Mawika other than being a biker?
Well, her hair is because she's the Fire Archon. You've got these here on the cuffs, some of the patterns from Natlan. There's the sun of Natlan. There's the Doritos. You know the Doritos? Oh no, wait, the Doritos are from Sumeril's. Oh, like that's the sort of um when you were showing like that mech earlier, this is the sort of stuff the mech had.
I guess she's got sun imagery to represent her Archon hood, but to me, her hair is the only thing about her design.
Natlan symbols, Natlan symbols, Natlan symbols, Natlan symbols. To me, it completely shows she's from Natlan, as well as the Fire Archon, as well as someone who does have a motorcycle. They wanted to do something different with this design, okay? They wanted it to push... Like, this design is one of the least sexualized designs in my opinion. And you're dogging at this too, okay? It's fine, you can have your own opinions. I'm just saying that Mavrika is a decent design. Not as bad as you make it out to be. Yes, Her leaked design is much better, but they changed it. It's their choice, it's the game's choice, I guess. They're the ones making the game. We can critique it, we can't change it though.
That gives me Pyro Archon. But then, all of that still goes away when she fights and her hair lights up. And then we have Veresa. I was really excited about this design when I saw the silhouette in that same teaser we were talking about earlier. Oh my gosh, a girl that's a cow. Oh my god, that's gonna be so cute. I love these braids and the big horns. I mean, I wonder what kind of color palette she'll have. Maybe like browns and greens, something earthy because she's a farm animal.
I think Veresa's really cute.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that works too. Just kidding. I hate this design. One of my least favorites in the entire game.
That's fair, but I absolutely love it. Veresa's design is one of my favorites. The only reason I haven't pulled her is because I don't like her playstyle as much.
It's like, what was the point, dude? Why is she so like kawaii themed? She's got hearts and bows everywhere. She wears
because they were trying something different. They're allowed to try something different. Like, if you look into Veresa's character, like, she is a very cutesy character in her personality. She probably dresses to express that cutesiness.
Leg warmers and a cardigan. The skirt is pointless because it's too short to cover her ass. You expect me to believe that
There's things called mini skirt. Went outside, there's also women wearing that outside sometimes. It's a design standpoint. Oh, that actually sounds a bit rude. I'm sorry. I sometimes come off as really blunt when I don't mean to. I'm sorry about that. That actually sounded really rude.
This is a lucha libre fighter. I know that luchadoras often dress in similar silhouettes to Veresa's outfit, but they didn't.
Oh my god, I just saw someone. I just saw someone with a miniskirt in that B-roll. I just saw someone with a miniskirt. Oh look, they actually were miniskirts.
Often dress in similar silhouettes.
Just saw. I wonder if she is based off of that.
To Veresa's outfit, but they didn't incorporate any elements of the culture that Veresa is inspired by, or
I'm sorry, but I actually can see like symbols from Natlan.
The one that her name comes from. There are plenty of lucha libre fighters who incorporate elements of their culture into their costumes. They could have gotten really creative with it.
There is some in the costume, while also making her a cutesy character. They wanted to hybrid it. You're allowed to have your opinions, you're allowed to discredit it. Some other people also don't like Veresa's design. But girl, you said any. There is some Natlan symbols in it. You could have said it could incorporate more instead of saying there's none.
Like I said earlier, I was interested too in Escoffier's design based on the silhouette, but I was also very disappointed with this reveal. Not only does this outfit make no sense with regards to breaking up any colors or with this weird heart theming that she has, similar to Veresa. Again, I don't know why they keep doing this, but
they want to make cutesy characters.
Literally just the sexy chef Halloween costume.
That is nothing. Did you see that? That is nothing alike. Bro. I want to agree with you, but she's more covered up than that.
Wearing an apron with nothing underneath it. Not only is that insulting, but it's boring and it's lazy. You guys literally couldn't bother to design a shirt for her to wear under this apron. Skirk makes me mad in a similar way because they literally took an already very revealing outfit and made her more naked when she...
Skirk? Fan service? I do not think Skirk is fan service. She's more covered up than half the characters in the game. I was saying if you probably picked a Nod Cry character, I would agree with you, but you're picking one of the best designed characters in the game. You can see exactly where she comes from. And you can see exactly. You can see that she's meant to be otherworldly. You can see that like she is from the same part as the whale. You can see that in her galaxy design. And you're thinking, she is the too sexualized. Bro. This is actually one of the best characters. This is a widely loved character. And as I said before, I don't even think Genshin is that sexualized. They don't sexualize their characters that much.
Made the transition from NPC to playable character. Lauma is one of the ones that makes me the saddest because I actually really love the way that she's written in the narrative. Her voice acting is so beautiful and gentle, and I find her quiet strength to be really, really compelling. It just sucks because she would be perfect if she wasn't almost naked. For Lauma,
Now, as I said, if you picked a non-cry character, I might agree a bit more with you. I do agree with a bit more with that. This is a bit more sexualized than the recent ones. But then again, if you've seen Genshin, it is doing less. See Llama, she was actually a pretty highly sold character and really liked. It's the game, dude. It's the game. Sometimes you have to make more sexualized characters. But I'll say this. I don't think Genshin sexualized her that much. I think it's just something that she's wearing, honestly. Some people might be sexualizing them, like, the clothes on their own. They can look at it and be like, oh yes, skin. I love skin. Well, when I look at Lauma, I see, oh, she's pretty. I don't see anything weird about her design. I've never even noticed a side piece. I don't really care about that. Like, I've seen people dress nearly butt naked because I live near a river. Yeah. And then go into, like, McDonald's. It's just an everyday thing. I don't stare at them. They're allowed to. They're allowed to dress like that. Like, in games, it's a bit different. Like, you can make the point that it's a game targeted towards men. Yeah, it is. It is a game targeted towards men. Most gacha games are. You gotta live with the reality that most gacha games are, and what sells is what sells. And as the saying says, X sells.
I don't feel hatred like I do for Veresa because Lauma has good writing to make up for her design. I
I don't hate her as much as Veresa because one has more story. Okay. So you're admitting that Lauma's design is more sexualized than Veresa, but you're saying since Lauma has more story time and you actually like her, you're not sexualizing her that much.
feel bad for her. Like, oh my god, you poor woman. You're probably so cold and uncomfortable all the time. Actually, she's named after a creature from Baltic folklore that's traditionally depicted as a nude woman. That is literally just another excuse to make a woman with large breasts.
Okay. Okay, she was like, oh, well, if it had a law reason, I would care about it a bit more. Brings up the law. It's not an excuse to make her half naked. If they were gonna make her half naked, they would have just put a two-piece on her.
Walk around with a single piece of cloth covering her ass. You can't convince me that Lauma isn't meant to be sexual.
Oh, yeah, she probably is meant to be sexualized. Yeah. Yeah. For this type of thing, she probably... That's what I was saying. It sells. It sells. But in the story, she isn't, is she? They care about her more than her clothes. I'm saying, like, I'm not saying that, oh, the design is specifically made not to be. Oh, no, a design is made to have at least a little bit of interest in it. It's a male-centered game. You've got to, yeah. But I think that, well, they're not actually doing it in-game. Yes, her design's like that. Yes, you can say that she has quite a risque design. Yes, that is valid. But she isn't actually sexualized in the game. If people want to sexualize her, that's their own fault.
Sexualized by the game when she makes this face while bound by Rayrir. Finally, we have Nefer.
Oh my god, she made a distressed, uncomfortable face. Because she's distressed and uncomfortable. It won't... What face would you make? What face would you make if you were being, restrained? Would you make, like, a pain sort of face? That's what it is. It's a pain face. Like, it's not like she's sticking her tongue out like, ah. She's not doing that. She's not, like, half closing her eyes and being like, no, she's not. She's not doing that.
She wears this super detailed, tiny dress, one that's so
It's because if you put blue, like, look at her design, it's white and with blues in it. If you put a light blue there, it's gonna blend in too much because of this swoopy blue bit here. If you make it white, you aren't gonna see these patterns here. It's character design. You're gonna blend in too much.
short it makes her legs look obscenely long like a spider, and then she doesn't even wear shoes. Just
Some
these
people have
fuck-ass
long
water
legs.
orb heels because they couldn't bear to let a woman walk flat on her feet. And the way
She doesn't have shoes, so she has to be sexualized. Mate, you come down here, you'll see every sort of person wearing no shoes, guys. You come down here, you'll be seeing them wear no shoes. It doesn't... It's just... I don't think it's a fetish thing. I think it's... Look at her, she is otherworldly. She doesn't need shoes. She can fly. If she can float. Like, the shoes is to protect your feet from things stabbing into you, because that's uncomfortable. If you can float over it, it doesn't matter now, does it?
way that these women are drawn sometimes is so stupid too. Even the character designs that I consider to be better than these suffer from the fan service. Even though I wish her skirt was longer to add some variety to the designs, I really like Mizuki's design. Do the same thing with Mawika. Her back is arched so heavily just so that they can display both her cleavage.
Is riding a motorcycle. And when the motorcycle's a bit big, you need it, and you're doing a pose, I can do this pose without a motorcycle. That's a bit weird. Like, I could do this. Without a motorcycle, it would be a bit worse than Vookiii with her motorcycle, but you do you.
Cleavage and her ass. Veresa's also the same, plus she's making
Ressa's pose isn't even that bad. It's not that bad. She's just I could do this. And I will not get looked at twice.
that face like, oh, you caught me and I have food all over my face. Oh no! I hated saying that out loud. And see, Lolly is literally squishing her.
Have you not hugged something? Guess you could say this is sexualized because they didn't have to make her hugging this, but guess where my eyes go? To her face. Yes, some people might look down here and say, oh yes, hell yeah. Well, look here.
Her chest so heavily with what? A stuffed animal? A pillow? That is not how this part of the body works. This is only one of the anime fan service tropes that Genshin has increasingly leaned into over time. As the game progresses, we only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character.
Tsunderes are cute.
Very obvious crushes or similar devotion to the traveler, all of whom seem to
It's
be women,
how it sells.
Ayaka was a big one early on, but since then we've had Mizuki blushing around the traveler and the game purposefully putting her into situations in which we're meant to like cutely embarrass her. It's clearly meant to have a teasing romantic tone to it. Similarly, Seat Lolly has a big crush on the traveler, made evident by being portrayed like this in her Valentine's Day art, and by all the times the game has given us very convenient plot-related ways to read each other's thoughts.
Are you saying that we shouldn't have like characters that might like another one?
This shit is painful to play. And then most recently we've
might
had
be for you,
Kalamina,
but
who,
some people
again,
actually really
has
like that.
only one true friend in the traveler, and she cutely hides behind you and you get to feed her. Again, these are all very romance-coded behaviors. The traveler is literally
romance-coded does
as
not
her
mean
savior
sexualized,
and
though.
dance partner in her trailer. It is a pattern at this point. Can we please let women have more interesting relationships with the main character than being their shy waifu all the time?
Yes. This is a big thing. Especially with some of them. You probably should have more of personality for them. Yes, I fully agree with this. Yes, we should have some more like lady characters that have their own personality. Yes. Like shown in the story, especially. But unfortunately, like for this type of game, you don't usually get that. I'm sorry, you don't usually get that. Even in the older ones. Like, what character development did Yai have? I still really like Yai. A lot of people still really like Yai, but she was more of a teasy tease. Same with Lisa. Lisa also filled the trope, except she was like a mummy character, really. A mummy.
Time. And again, this fan service is never equal opportunity. The male characters never get to have interactions or relationships like this with the player.
Yeah, it would be cool if you could have like romanceable options with the male characters, yes. As a bi person, I do think that male characters do deserve some more love.
Why not? We also have character-specific tropes. Veresa, I'm getting to you now. She was tailor-made for the feeder fetish. I kid you not, in one of her
This is one of the worst takes. Because I know people like Veresa in real life. I know girls like Veresa in real life. They are not into this. Oh my god. They're not into this at all. So basically, they like food. They really like food. They'll eat a lot. That's a thing that people like. But these people do not know what the fetish is. It's not. It's sort of. Yes, it's weird to some people if you're sexualizing it. If it's just like a cute thing, like, hey, look, she likes eating. It's not the fetish. Like, some people with that fetish probably think that way. But the thing is, you're thinking too hard into it. It's probably just meant to be a cute trope. I'm going to say this. This is a cute trope. This is not meant to be part of anything like that. It is not, like, you're not seeing her, like, get bigger over time after everything she eats. You're not seeing someone force her to eat more. I'm sorry, but she is just someone that really likes food. And she is allowed to do that. There's a lot of real women who really like food, who might be with her body type. They also might be skinnier, because I know someone who I swear has the strongest metabolism in the world. She eats 10 times more than me. And guess what? Guess what? She does not gain anything. She just really loves eating. You're allowed to like food. You're allowed to eat. It should not be sexualized. It should not be in any manner should be sexualized. You drawing this conclusion from a character shows that it's getting to your head. Stuff like this is getting more normalized. Like, to see fetish media. And this is not. It is. I think it's a thing that's happening on the internet a lot more, like, from recent years. Everyone is thinking, hey, that has to be sexualized, when it isn't. It isn't at all. It is allowed to have it can be just a cute trait. It doesn't have to be, hey, it's a fetish. It's catering to a fetish. It is not. I do not believe it is. I do not think that's what they made it for. I think they were made for a cute, charming personality trait. I don't think it's meant for anything like that. You're allowed to have your opinions, but I do not think it's about anything like that. I think it's just an over-sexualization on the internet that's making you think that. That might be a really tough take, but that's what it is.
It is genuinely one of the most sickening and uncomfortable things I have seen coming
That is
out
fair.
of this company. Her entire
That is fair to find that animation a bit gross, but I think it's meant to be a bouncy thing because her whole trailer is bouncy.
thing is eating comically large amounts of food. She has
Some people just like
nothing
that.
else that matters to her character, to her personality, or anything about her. Video Linnea has been released, and I just have to interject to say, what the fuck were they thinking with this character?
Wait,
I feel
what?
like a crazy person because I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't think she's adorable and in fact recognizes her for the creepy freak that she is. First of all, she clearly has absolutely no respect for living things that are not traditionally human. She keeps asking to touch and pet the
Okay, she has not heard of cuteness aggression. Okay, sometimes if you really think something is really, really cute, you might want to touch or squeeze it. Especially if you haven't seen it before and you think it's really, really cute. Some people have this, I don't. I know people that I knew people that had this, I don't know. The people that I keep on saying I know, I don't actually know anymore. Anyways, well, yeah, like, I knew people with cuteness aggression. Sometimes they just really want to squeeze things because they think it's so cute that they want to squeeze it. It's just something that happens to some people. I don't think it was meant to be creepy. I do not think it's meant to be sort of in that way. I think she's just meant to have cuteness aggression.
Melusines as if they are not whole people. It's especially creepy because the Melusines are made to look like children. Having an adult
Okay, so
character
you think... Okay, let's put this down. Lene might want to squeeze their cheeks, or they might want to pet them, their animal sort of things. Anyway, do you not pet a child or do you not see someone squeeze a child's cheeks and think, oh, that's just a grandma or something? You think that's a yeah? You think that's a because they got some cuteness aggression or they want to pat a child on the head? Yes, the Melusines are actually grown people, but you think that it would be weird for someone to pat someone on the head if it was an adult patting a child on the head? That says more about the person than it says it more about this. I think this is cuteness aggression. Um, there's also like grandmas who squeeze their kids' cheeks. Like if you never got that, then you don't have that type of grandma, I guess. But like that happens. That's very common. There's people that pat their kid's head, like a father patting a son's head or a daughter's head. That is completely fine. That is something that's very common in families. And also like it's it's completely platonic. It's not done in any sexualized manner. It's not meant to. It is not meant to be creepy, unless if you're an actual that's doing it. But I don't think that would be doing it in this. I don't even think they'll cater a character to be a. Yes, I'm just gonna pause whenever I say that word because I don't know even if I'm not monetized if I'm allowed to say it. So she isn't a creep. I don't think she's a creep.
Who is high-key obsessed with them and can't treat them as the people they are was a fucked up move on Hoyo's part.
They just want to make. Well, she just thinks Melisandre's are cute. She asks for permission. It's not like she's saying, "Oh no, you're just." You said she asked for permission. She asked for permission. Okay, this is one of the worst takes. This is near the food. This is near the food and Varesa take. Oh my god.
They literally make a point to emphasize the humanity of the Melusines and how they had to fight to be accepted in Fontanian society. And now we have a playable character who we are supposed to think is cute, harassing them and treating them as though they are pets.
No. I don't think it's harassment. She asked for it, and if they say no, I bet you she won't. She just has cuteness aggression, and she just really wants to. It's not this fucking doctor from. I know what this guy came from. He's fucking from Ace Attorney. It's not this guy. She is not this guy. She is not this guy.
It's disgusting. Her trailer is sickening for the same reason. She fantasizes about being rubbed up on by Siegeween, who, again, looks like a child.
Okay. This isn't even that bad, because have you not seen children cuddle up to people? Have you not seen that? It's not meant to be sexualized. It's just meant to be cute thing. It's not meant to be sexualized at all. I don't know why in your head you think, oh my god, this has to be sexualized. It's not. It's not. Not every gacha game has to be sexualized. And oh my god, this is so bad. I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast. I just get this way sometimes. I think this is one of the worst takes in the video. Yep. Yep.
And Kirida, along with other Melusines and Nekomata. It reads as extremely fetishistic to me, which is a problem when the people that she's fantasizing about look like children. She chases these people around and does
it is not meant to be fantasizing.
Multiple times to back off. There are multiple promotional materials in which she asks to touch a Melusine, which makes me think that it's happened more than once or twice.
Because she's asking permission.
I won't spoil it, obviously, because I said I wouldn't talk about content past Luna 5, but I still don't find this character appealing or compelling at all, as I feel like I've made it very clear.
You're allowed to not like the character.
An interesting design to make up for it. She's literally just a copy paste of Charlotte.
She's not Charlotte. I do not see the similarities, but okay. I do not see it. I
haven't felt such a burning hatred for a character in a long time. Hoyoverse had the opportunity to portray Linnea as a character with a disability that made it difficult for her to fit in. Anyway, back to the video. Before we move on to the last part, I feel the need to debunk something I've heard both in this fandom and in other fandoms with regards to sexualized character designs. She should be able to wear whatever she wants. It's feminist to let women express themselves how they want. Listen, I choose to believe that this argument isn't made in bad faith. It's more like people who say this have good intentions, but they don't understand what it is that they're actually saying. Yes, it's true that women in real life should be able to choose what they wear if they want to.
Yeah, I think I made this argument somewhere that yes, but I'm just saying that I don't sexualize anything because I don't sexualize it in real life. And also I am probably not the main demographic of what Genshin is. I am a dude, yes, but I don't think I'm the target demographic. I think it's more all straight guys, that also really like anime sort of thing. And yes, they may sexualize the characters more than in real life. Yes, I actually do agree with they will sexualize the characters more in real life because they want it to sell. Yes. And but the thing is, what I'm saying is that it's not as bad as other games. I can see those outfits IRL, so I don't automatically sexualize them. That's just how I think. I don't automatically do it. I don't want to do it. I am happy with the mindset I have. The other people saying the same thing probably have similar mindsets to me. It's okay to like sort of compare, but yes, I do know that fictional characters are not on the same level as real people because the fictional characters are probably more likely to get sexualized than the real people. Yes.
To wear revealing clothing, that is completely their choice. However, these women are not real and do not have the autonomy that we do. They are purposefully manufactured to be bait for the male gaze. They are animated in revealing outfits and drawn in uncomfortable poses and written into compromising situations. That's not to say that HoYoverse doesn't do this in their other games. Zenless Zone Zero comes to mind, but
Yeah, ZZZ
to
is
me, at
much
least,
worse.
that game is honest about what it is, and it has been since the beginning. Boob physics and maid outfits and schoolgirl uniforms and all. At least over there, the fan service is a little more equally spread across the male and female characters. Genshin Impact still pretends that it's this grand world of exploration it was 4 years ago.
ZZZ is sexualized, but that's okay because they are always.
Its writing and characters suffer. Expect visual upgrades like you've never seen before, all while we refuse to visually upgrade older characters because who gives a shit about them, right? Or as we
It's a valid critique to say that you're not gonna upgrade the older models, but then again, it's so much work. You know how much older models there is. They want to sell the new characters. It's harsh to say, but they're probably not gonna upgrade them.
increase the shill for pay-to-win players, or for Miliastro Wonderland, which
It
no
has
one
to.
fucking asked for, and
Yeah, no one asked for this. This is the most valid. No one asked for Roblox and Genshin. Oh, did my tracking just die again?
how HoYoverse doesn't. I think that's enough of that for now. Let's move on. After all this complaining, people are probably thinking, it sounds like this game is causing you lots of undue stress. Maybe you should just quit and play something else. Look, maybe you don't get what it feels like to invest 5 years of your life into a game like this, with ever-expanding lore and new characters being introduced all the time. I guess maybe I didn't know what I was getting myself into at the time, back in 1.0 when I first started out. It sucks to invest so much of your time into a game only for it to let you down. I'm not gonna pretend that Genshin was perfect back then. There are so many weird, cop-outs that Hoyo pulls so that they can have sensitive themes in their games. Regarding gameplay, as I said, the shill for current characters has only gotten worse with time, with boss enemies made specifically to be defeated by certain limited
Yeah, I don't like the bosses, but it's just how it's gonna play.
characters. Fontaine was the first region to introduce region-specific battle mechanics, Bond of Life, and Pneumosia, but it wasn't so completely baked into the combat like Night Soul or Lunar Reactions are. You didn't need Bond of Life or Pneumosia to be anything in the game, but the Lord of Eroded Primal Fire weekly boss requires a character who can apply Night Soul damage. The Game Before the Gate is built for quick application of the Frozen reaction, which is the specialty of Skirk and Escoffier. It's unfair to people who aren't looking to pull every single character, like me, because I only pull characters I like, or free-to-play people who aren't looking to spend what could easily be hundreds of dollars on filling out their 5-star roster.
Yeah, I agree with this. It's pretty understandable.
HoYoverse wormed its way into my brain and put my mind in a Genshin Impact-shaped
Yeah,
chokehold.
this is
At this
relatable.
point, I have so many mixed emotions about this game and its fan base. I love the beautiful fan art I see every day. I love the sense of humor that so many of these fans have. I love some of these characters so much, and thinking about them is so much fun, but sometimes I feel like the only sane person in any given comment section on the internet. Like, I'm the only person who sees this game for what it has become. People just refuse to be critical of this game.
It's never not become a type of this game. They just chose to make it more probably because it's not as high selling as it was. And the more sexualized characters, well, in your words, are actually very well community like. Okay, that's the video. That's the video. Oh shit, this recording went for 2 hours. Well, yes, I'm cutting it down because I did not talk and all of that. I'm only gonna cut the most important. I'm only gonna keep the most important bits because that's important to me. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching. My opinions are very heard. If you disagree with me, you're allowed to put that in the comments because I don't mind. I actually sound like I got a bit heated. Um, I don't know what it's like. I actually usually don't, but I guess my emotions are mucking up today. It sometimes does that. It's just me. Yay! Well, anyways, thank you all for watching, and maybe I'll see you in another one. Who knows?